So you mentioned AlphaFold. AlphaFold is my absolute favorite AI implementation. ChatGPT is not the killer app for AI. Biotech is the killer app for AI, and we're going to be seeing
Absolutely.
this. So just to like sharpen a little bit what you said here about AlphaFold. So AlphaFold is an algorithm. There are many of these algorithms. AlphaFold is the most famous one from DeepMind, which is currently a Google company, that will predict a protein's structure from its sequence. So I said that in one sentence, but that's been the holy grail of molecular and cellular biology for 100 years, right? When I was a graduate student, it could take you 8 years to figure out a protein's structure.
Yes.
And now what AlphaFold does is it makes predictions. Just like with anything you do with AI, you have to go check. But if that moves you 7 years faster down that innovation pipeline, that's fantastic. But here's where things, in my opinion, get really interesting. So that was like AlphaFold 1 through 3, where they were looking at proteins. There have been subsequent Google DeepMind algorithms that looked at not just the three-dimensional structures of proteins, but the three-dimensional structures of all of life molecules and how they fit together. If that sounds like a drug discovery bonanza to you, you're right. That's exactly the kind of thing we're thinking about there. But then they also came up with another algorithm called AlphaProteo, which will design entirely new proteins from scratch. So again, like looking beyond what nature has already done. And now there's AlphaGenome, which is even crazier. AlphaGenome, you can put 1 million base pairs of DNA into it, and it'll predict splicing variants and expression levels and tissue expression and what a SNP will do to change it, and histone binding patterns and transcription factor binding sites and all of these things. And when I look at that example, I measured all of that stuff too when I was in graduate school, but I did it with my hands, and sometimes I had to invent the technique first before I could actually measure the thing. And now there's an app for that, right? So if you think not just about a single protein, which maybe AlphaProteo or AlphaFold would give us the power to do, but the capacity to embed that in a larger biological context, in a genome, in a living thing, and then to model how that thing will behave and to say, I need to tweak this a little bit, I need to add a binding site here, I need to rewire this so that the repressor becomes an activator, like whatever it is. Suddenly now we have all these tools that can make this so much more faster and more powerful than ever before.